Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis with the Active Trend Traders for the Aftermarket Monday. Thanks a lot, Eric. Glad you can see us. We were all plugged in and ready to go. Hope your Monday is going well. Looking forward to August to be an interesting month, to say the least. Reminder, just all materials are presented for training purposes only. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. The intent of the Aftermarket Monday is to give a real quick, real fast 10 to 15 minutes overview of what the market may be flashing to us for the first part of the week. Market review, stocks, ETFs setting up, and if there is anything else we want to take a look at. I want to welcome everybody. Remember to have patience, stand back, and respect the rhythm. Stocks that are of interest right now. Remember, we are in a really strong, this week is going to be a really strong period of earning reports. Should get we could have a very volatile week due to earnings report. Got a lot of Chinese stocks reporting out. We have NVDA reporting out. I want to say we have Alibaba reporting out also. We had Tesla last week, Netflix a couple of weeks ago, and then a couple of them I keep my eye on. Momo and Baba, of course. I think Baba actually is next week, and Momo is the week after. So I want to take a look at the charts of GDX and NGT, Tesla, Nevada, NVDA, waiting for setups in strategy 1 and 2, especially in NVDA, since NVDA has earnings this coming Thursday after the market. Baba, Momo, NVDA, and VEEV, if you're a prime, if you're a I want to say prime member with active trend trading, you a premium member. There we go. With active trend trading, we were just ordering a bunch of stuff on Amazon Prime, and so anyway, premium member, you got your alerts on VEEV. We want to jump in to order on VEEV prior to it going into its earnings run. With that, let's go back here and let's start looking at a couple of charts. And one of our members was talking about the possibility of doing a trade on dust. As you can see, dust is basically is the inverse of the gold miners ETF. Its weekly chart, not a lot to tell about that but it's not that it's not a good chart, because I mean this got some big moves down here, but it's just it had such a high move, and it takes into consideration all the splits and all that kind of stuff. But looking on a daily chart, it's back down there around, if you're trying to play a bounce off the 8-period moving average, 29.10 or something like that might be a good place. Got to 29.06 today. Now, if it rips up through the 50-day moving average, you can adjust your potential entry on that. But that's where we're sitting at. That's a daily and a weekly chart there. SPX, real quick look. Again, it is basically moving back up towards its previous high. It's got some negative divergence going on here and so right now what the SPX looks more like, it looks like a TSI squeeze, where it squeezes up to the longer term line and then will break down. Momentum still pointing down. The longer term momentum looks a little bit positive. But again, we've got resistance up here at the 2484 level, and it has to bust through that for the uptrend to continue. NASDAQ got a pretty little bump today. Just a bounce up. It bounced off the 20 last week, kind of hitting its butt across that, and then it basically has broken up a little bit. The TSI is turning up, so if one was looking for a trade, you can use that 8-day as your trigger to get into a trade. Let's take a look at TQQQ, which is the 3-time leverage ETF on this. Should get us something very similar to it. Remember that August tends to be the most volatile month of the year, running into September, which tends to be the weakest month of the year. And so plan your trades accordingly. I would be focusing more on swing trades that would last a few days to no more than a couple of weeks because of the flakiness that could come into the market. And then Russell, quickly. In a way, I really like Russell better than the other. I mean, this is a nice looking pattern down here. What has happened the last few times that the TSI has started to bounce back up? Well, we've gotten a really nice upswing here, pull back to a positive divergence, which was the clue to say, hey, let's get long on the Russell. And you can translate that over to TNA for the Russell. We came down here, we found support, the support area just above it, reversed off of that, still below the 8 or the 50. And but we have got, let's see, did we get a TSI tick up this today? Keep your eye. Come on. Okay, keep your eye right here. And so what did we get? On Friday, we had a negative 29. Today, we have a negative 27. So we do have a TSI tick up in the Russell. Translate that over to the TNA, which it could make TNA a potential buy. I'd like to see it up above the 50. So I wouldn't necessarily be buying it at the 55 or 56 level. But if we get a retrace back down into, 55 all the way down here to, the 54.74 level, that may give us an opportunity to say, hey, let's jump on this. What's the expectation here? Well, if we run back up to its past highs, well, that would be a real quick move of about 10%. 8 to 10%. So I like TNA for that. Now let's get over to some of the other things we're working at. Tesla. Okay, Tesla, okay, kind of a spinning top doji at a level of resistance. It's got resistance up here at the 360 level. We went in and we put out some orders and got filled for our strategy 2 and 3 on Tesla. One selling the 360 by 365 bear call spread, made about $1.60 on that. If price runs back up above 360, we're out of that trade. That's our stop loss on that one. And if price hits approximately 80 cents on it, we'll close that trade with a 50% gain. The flip side of that also is the strategy 2-3 trade, and I think we sold the 355 calls and sold them for about $6.10. Would like to capture as much of that as possible, so now we've got a stop loss of above 360, and we'll try to collect about at least $5.10 of that trade. And so we got 2 contracts on that. That would be a cash flow of about $1,000 for the week. So that's what we're looking at for Tesla. What else might I look at? If Tesla really weakens up here, and wants to fall all the way back down to the lower Keltner channel, well, how far is that? Well, that's about a $41 move. So we'll be monitoring that because that's the type of move where we can go ahead and utilize a weekly call that's maybe 2 to 3 weeks out from here, and utilize a weekly put and sell that or buy that and take advantage of this move down. On that, I'd be looking at probably a somewhere between a 40 to a 60 delta on that. And look for, because these are such pricey weekly options, I would look for the price action to take me down through my strike price. So in other words, I might look at saying, hey, well, I'm going to do the 350 call or put, excuse me, that's out 2 weeks from now. And the movement of the stock should take me down and through that. And again, utilizing right now the 360 as my stop area. So I hope that helps. NVDA, VDA. Waiting. Okay, NVDA broke out today. Very interesting. We're going to hold on to our leap straddle on this and see how far it's going to run. It has earnings coming up on 8/10 after market. That's this coming Thursday. We'll treat this the same way we did Tesla last week. We'll wait until the day of earnings to sell our put call positions for strategy number 3. As we stand right now, I would look for any kind of little pullback into the 170 level, and it would not be well. We could go ahead, and if they pull back to the 170, we could go with like a 175 call to trade it into Thursday. Because what we'll anticipate happening on that, and I recognize you may not be a option trader, and that's okay. It's you'll get to learn something here. Okay, here we go. Pop up. There we go. As we can see, okay, this hasn't really. Okay, well, I got to get over to the NVDA. There we go. NVDA, and as you can see, look at the implied volatility that's already happened on this. It's up to 91 already. The expected move right now from is about $14 plus or minus $14 from where it's at. And if we were to look at let me erase that really quick. Let's say if we get back down to 170 and we had a really good intraday setup. Well, what would I want to look at? I would probably want to look at the it's 175 to 180 call, and then let that run up into earnings. And if this jumps up higher than normal, if it jumps up to 110, 120%, the value of that option will continue to increase. But again, I'm not going to jump on it right now. I want to wait until that happens, because as you see, let me just basically reset that. Keep your eyes over here on these theoretical values, and I'm going to increase. I'm just going to increase the volatility. If the volatility runs up another, let's say 25%, look, 25%. Well, look what happens to the individual options. They would go out, and this is without money, without anything, without any actual movement in the stock. And if we move this out to closer to the 8th, as you can see, if it goes up another 25%, even if it doesn't go anywhere, the value by the 10th or by the 9th, going into the 10th, we want to get rid of probably 9th. As you see, just kind of stays flat. If we go up, if it goes up another $5 from where it's at, well, that would give us, and it's clear that it could get up close to 180, and then that would give us a, kind of a double benefit. And that's one of the things that's a trade that only happens around earnings time. What else are we looking at? We also got into, I'm keeping my eye here, VEEV. What was the trigger on VEEV? Well, one, bounce off the 50-day moving average, TSI tick up, a green candle closing above a red hole dot. A good trade on the triggers, and now we just got to continue to see it, watch it roll up. What I may do right now, I've got a stop loss on it down here at the $60.04 or $60.05. I can draw a trend line across here. If I violate that trend line, which is 61.29, let's say I drop $61, that may be an indication that, hey, this is not going to work. But I'm not going to flash that to the market makers at this particular point. I'm going to let this ride for a couple of days, see if, just as long as we stay up there. But I will put a alert in there to say, here's my alert, is at or below 61.60. Yeah, it's close enough. And what I want to do, basically, I'm going to just put a sound effect of a dive, because it's going the wrong way. So that's what we got for VEEV. Let's go real quick over to GDX. And I want to show a picture with GDX. GDX is this is the gold miner non-leverage ETF. It had pulled off and bounced from the $21 level. And trading it by itself is not really that bad of a deal. I mean, it moved 10%, but it has moved back down to, it's looking for support down here at the 22 level. I'm still expecting a positive move on gold, sometime in August going into the first part of September. We may or may not get it. This may have been the seasonal move that started back on July 10th. But we'll watch this, see what it does. It's going to get back all the way to the moving average. Right now, I'm not going to touch it to the long side because TSI is moving down, but getting some positive signs with market forecasts. The shorter term momentum is down in the lower reversal zones, and oftentimes that leads to a bounce up. But just take a snapshot in your mind of what this looks like. And then I'm going to bounce over here to the actual nugget. And you see the nugget slightly a little bit different. It's kind of like it's a little bit lower in the the picture that it paints. And as you can see, it had, while GDX had made a nice straight line, identifying the level of support, Nugget's level of support was a little bit to the downside, sloping to the downside. Similar thing here. And this is partly due to the contango and other aspect of the entities that they have to buy to emulate a 3-time leverage ETF. So that's that. Let's see, did we talk about Momo? Don't think so. Momo quickly. Momo looks to be breaking out, has earnings coming up on the 22nd before market. So Momo, if you're looking to trade Momo, trade the 8-day moving average. I mean, it basically is, in the past, oh gosh, almost 7 days, it's come down and it's hit the 8-day almost every day of the last 8. And so that makes that a potential, potential trigger. But where's it going to be tomorrow? Well, the 8-day tomorrow is probably going to be about 44, 45. And so that would make a good place to say, hey, I'm going to do an order to buy at that point, expecting us to continue on with this breakout, because we do have a new high close today. That's Momo, Alibaba. Good, really nice strong breakout today. Ran about $4, almost $5 today. It has earnings coming up on 8/17 before market, and 8/17 just that's a Thursday. It's Thursday of next week. And so just watch this back. I'm going to be watching this. If we get a breakout, then that makes the 160 the new support level. But during the week, we may not get that breakout. But look what's going on here. We've got a nice, TSI tick up right down here. Momentum tick up, and all the momentum's on the market forecast moving up. So I'll be looking for a secondary, maybe a secondary entry on this. You can almost buy the stock at, somewhere about 156.70. And so that's what I'm, potentially looking at. Let's call it just before we move too rapidly. As you can see, here's today's action. Pop up. I'm going to pay attention to this 50-period moving average on an hourly chart. We get down around that. That would be a good place to, plan a trade. And especially if my TSIs, my momentum indicators on the intraday are into lower reversal zone, that would give us a nice potential trigger point. Okay, NBA will cover. One stock, if you're just looking to trade a excellent technical stock, is take a look at Netflix. Netflix had basically a real big run up after earnings. Now it has pulled back. It has pulled back not quite to its breakout area, but again, it broke out down here, popped up, has pulled back almost to the 20. And as you look what's happening here, momentum is down a lower reversal. Looks like it wants to turn up. TSI looks like it wants to turn up. Hasn't quite, give us a tick up. And then the momentum on the market forecast also turning up. So we've got a good level of support. And this is a $10 move back up to its highs here. So, for a $181 stock, that's not too bad. Tesla we talked about. CTRL, something to keep an eye on. It also, I like it at the 50. It is hanging in there. After earnings had this big wide day. So let's see if it'll put in another basing pattern. LABU, which is the also is looking good, but of course we're going to be which is the actual pattern on IBB looks better, but we would trade LABU and it too. TSI tick up. How far, what's it going to do from here? Are we going to, the one thing of concern here, and then we're going to basically call it a day. One thing of concern is really crummy volume down here. In other words, under average volume. VIV we talked about, ABU we talked about, Momo. Okay. Hey guys, I know that covers a lot. But it gives you a lot of potential targets to act on going into the rest of the week. So with that, I bid you adieu. God bless everybody, and we'll be talking to you on Friday for the How to Make Money Trading Stocks and ETFs. God bless everybody.